I can't stop thinking about Blue Lock. It has taken over my mind, my psychosis, my personality. Ever since I sat down and watched the first season, then immediately jumping into the manga. When I go to work, I think about it. When I eat, I think about it. When I sleep, I think about it. It's become my new fixation that I'm just never going to shut up about. And this new fixation is entirely unconventional, mainly because, contrary to popular belief, I'm not really like a sports guy. Like, I'll tune into the annual halftime show, I'll watch for the cool commercials, but like sitting down, actively zooming in on the game itself, yeah, I just get super bored. I'm just not invested in anything that goes into the act of sports. How many field goals or touchdowns can I watch before you just see it all? Honestly, Haiku. Never got around to reading Slam Dunk. ProZD recommended Chihaya Furu. It's an anime about card sports and poems, but to be honest, I got bored 2 episodes in. And, I'm sorry, Ippo is how long? That's longer than One Piece. So, yeah, suffice to say, I'm not a sports guy. So then why is it, Blue Lock specifically, that changed me? What clicked within me when I watched this anime that it changed my brain chemistry? I am now hyped around sports. I am now hyped around soccer. Why can't I? Blue Lock is a sports manga written by Muneyuki Kaneshiro and illustrated by Yusuke Nomura. It's about, well, the Blue Lock program. In this anime, and also in real life, Japan has never won a World Cup. They've participated in one, sure, but they've never actually won one. The people behind the Japanese soccer team also don't seem keen on winning. The organization makes money, and that's all the union wants. But for Japan to come close to winning, Henri, a new hire, has a suggestion to produce the players that will win. She introduces this guy, Ego. This crazy guy, String B, wants to gather the 300 best under-18 striker players in Japan, pin them against each other in an enclosed arena, no contact from the outside world, and train them down from 300 to 1. All to make the ultimate striker Japan needs to win. Now, whether or not this is legal for minors to participate in, or even in Japan's budget, don't matter. What do matter is this concept already conquering my biggest hurdle when it comes to sports. The hook. Blue Lock isn't only about the soccer games, because if I'm being honest, if it was just watching the games itself, I would have left already. But you throw in Ego's twist that my favorite characters can be eliminated at any point, and there's going to be soccer death-style games, well, now you got my attention a bit. It's a twist on the genre. Now, you could argue that there aren't real stakes in these death-style games. Any of those 300 strikers could just leave, right? They could just go back to what they're used to. But like the mad lad that Ego is, he tells them, yeah, they can leave. He's not forcing them to stay. In fact, Ego doesn't want them to stay if they have that mindset. Care for a team, sportsmanship. Pfft, those are frivolous ideas for a true striker. It's why Japan is second-rate at best. What he wants are these 300 diamonds in the rough to turn to hope diamonds. He wants Japan as a whole to evolve as a nation, and I'd argue that becoming the best striker is what these strikers want, and why they're going to stay here in Blue Lock. Now, I've always thought, and you might too, that sports has always been a team game. You know, at least like the main ones. But Ego's speech here, and future ones we will go over, makes you change your entire perspective on sports. I think the best example of this idea is in the first episode. Ego talks about the last few seconds in the World Cup. If you were in the World Cup, and you could pass the ball to achieve 100% victory, would you? Or would you, the striker, risk it all to claim all the glory, shoot your shot at the goal, and become the number one? That's the kind of striker Ego is looking for. The birth of the egotist, so self-centered, he would risk it all for being at the top. So, making me see soccer in an entirely different light. In the first few minutes of the first episode, that got me really hooked to keep watching. I wanted to see this kind of idea in action. Okay, I get these strikers are passionate and they're going to play these games, but it's still just going to be soccer games, right? Like, take the first round of Blue Lock's eliminations, the first main arc of the series. The cast still needs to form a coherent team of 11, play soccer matches against the other formed teams, and win enough matches to stay in Blue Lock. Is it really different from watching a typical sports game? But see, this is where those typical twists in a death-style game come into play. The first elimination are a round-robin tournament, yes, but there's one part I've left out. See, Ego mentions that the top 2 teams automatically go to the second round. The other 3 are out, but the one that scores the most goals gets to stay. If everyone here wants to be a striker, everyone is going to want to go to be the striker position, right? They want to get the most goals, not caring about anything else. That's what Ego said they must do, right? So, how do you make a team of 11 strikers that all want to win? Answer, you can't. They ought to start fighting. It's a total disaster of a soccer game. But see, this again is where Blue Lock twists your jaded heart of you not liking sports. Like the legend he is, Ego is trying to show these strikers the way to an evolution. Each round before a match, Ego comes on screen and tells these lumps of talent that they have a puzzle to solve. During the first round, Ego, yes, he does mention the rules of the round-robin tournament, how they're going to either stay in Blue Lock or leave Blue Lock. Ego goes, my own goals versus the team victory. This is a battle to rebuild soccer from zero. Ego wants to eliminate everyone who doesn't, to be blunt, got that dog in him. But he also knows that these strikers have the ability to gain that dog in them. When solving these evolutionary ego puzzles, the cast can become better strikers. And when they fumble together for what is basically the entire match, this is where this idea of zero comes into play. They get 0 points. They get their ass kicked. And what they needed was to turn that 0 fumbling into 1 winning goal. Look at the other team. They got a player who just rammed through them all. The entire main cast. Maybe that's what they should do. Should they find that guy? Support him? So they're a shoe-in into getting through the next round? Have you been listening to anything Ego's been going on about? That noise. What they need from Ego's perspective is that egotistical nature. Support one another? Nah, that. What they need is their own ability to break the other team's formation. Their own evolution of skill needing to re-evolve and re-evolve and re-evolve. They need their own weapon to tear off the team's limbs. That there's nothing left by the end of the match. They need to
grab his dick and twist it! Oh my god, dude, this is an MMA fight, dude! Too much. Twist that dick! Twist this dude!
I absolutely love this idea. I now know that there's going to be so much going into these different matches that there's going to be some kind of strategy to be the number one, but still needing to be a team. Again, I find this so captivating because it's another way of looking at sports that I've never seen before. And the way Blue Lock is doing this so well, making it be so captivating, is through our MC. I haven't talked about him yet, but our MC shows off all the aspects of Blue Lock: strategy, egotism, subversion, and needing to constantly evolve to shine. His name is...
I think it was important to give context before mentioning Isagi, mainly so everyone understands what the Blue Lock program is, but also for this next point. Isagi is... How do I want to phrase this? He kind of sucks. Let me cook. Thank you. What I'm getting at is our MC here is not physically athletic, if you compare him to other people in Blue Lock. I mean, he's not that strong. He can't run as fast as other strikers. He can't block other players well. He can't jump high. Overall, he's an average athletic guy. So much so that the series makes this abundantly clear multiple times throughout the first and second selection. To the point when he finally figures out his formula, the 0 to 1 I was talking about before, it isn't cool? Like, okay, Chigiri, right? This is another striker. His goal formula is with his crazy fast speed. He can go from 0 to 100 in a second. He can kick the ball and pass it to himself from a long distance. Or look at my main man Bachira. He may not be as fast as Chigiri, but his formula is insane dribbling. He can move his feet in and out of the ball and juke his opponent in a 1v1 and a 1v2 and later on even a 1v3. Do you know what Isagi's is? Ready for this? Straight shot. That's it. A single straight shot. So if you think about it, if Isagi were to meet an opponent like Chigiri or Bachira, how is he going to beat that? Like, take for example, we're on the final match of the first selection. If Isagi's team loses, he's out of blue lock for good. They're up against Nagi. To be blunt, Nagi's just built different. His specialty is getting past the ball from any angle and being able to stop it, bounce it, control it, send it, bop it, twist it. Anytime a ball goes within his domain, he can control it. It's also called trapping, if you look it up on WikiHow. So you get this force of nature on the field who can pull off insane tricks. How are you gonna get around that? Well, if Isagi can't beat Nagi physically, then maybe he can beat him mentally. During the match, Bachira passes the ball to Chigiri, which, like we went over, is all about his speed. But that's also Chigiri's weakness. If Chigiri does pass the ball between himself, someone could just get to the ball's endpoint before him. That would mean the ball is just out in the open. Or what if someone blocks his path? That would mean he would have to slow down and someone would get to the ball first. Who notices these weaknesses first? Isagi. He's able to block Nagi so Chigiri can keep on speeding. But that's not all Isagi sees. He also notices potential outcomes. What if Chigiri's goal misses? Then the enemy team is all on the left side to block or get the ball. But Isagi notices that this is the perfect scenario for another teammate, Kunigami. Then Isagi's brain goes further. What if then Kunigami misses? And then what if another player misses? What if Chigiri's actually able to get the goal? What if someone blocks the goal? And so on and so forth. Isagi keeps looking into the future of all the possible scenarios. And just like that, one of them comes true. A teammate gets a goal. Isagi can use all the info on the current field to see where the ball will end up. This is called spatial awareness. Who are the players in the game? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How can I use those to determine where the ball will go? And can I use these to get a goal my team needs? It's actually incredible how much throughput is in spatial awareness, since no matter how strong physically a player is, Isagi can just go further in the future and gain the upper hand. Spatial awareness also uses the medium of both anime and manga to its best, as now anytime a graph of the field shows up or Isagi pauses to explain a character's throughput, it doesn't take you out of the game. It's all just Isagi thinking of scenarios. And as a viewer, we can now see the soccer game in an entirely different light, as a chessboard. And while you might think Isagi's OP, I mean, there isn't like a power system in Blue Lock, but the man can see into the future. If you look at the entire first selection as a whole, Isagi had a ton of help. He needed my main man Bachira to pass him the ball. He needed multiple players on his team to be able to score goals. And while I do love the Nagi fight, I can't deny that he got lucky. If one of his teammates didn't get a red card, his team probably would have lost. So, does Isagi really have the ego of a striker? Is this the striker Ego has been searching for? Well, this is where the second selection comes into play. During the second selection, Ego has a new puzzle. Each player must improve their 1 to 100. No more relying on others, no more potentially getting lucky. You must now be so consistent with your equation for scoring, it becomes second nature. To do this, players need to build a team of 3 to go against another team of 3. But because this is Blue Lock, Ego sets this up for another puzzle to solve. If your team wins, then you pick a player from the other team. Then you move on to go against a team of 4. Then if you win again, you pick someone from the other team, and you now have 5 players. If you get 5 players, you win the second selection. But if your team loses and you aren't picked, then you go against a team of 2 who also didn't get picked. And if they don't choose you, you're out of Blue Lock for good. So each game you watch, you're either going to increase by 1 player or decrease by 1 player. And with less people on your team, you really need to pull your own weight. And if you aren't cutting that, you're really out of Blue Lock for good. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself here, but can I just mention how creative this is as a story premise? Think about this for a second, right? The author came up with 2 very clever Battle Royale soccer tournaments, in which the second one, you have to, 1, prove your own weight, 2, fight people on your team from the previous selection, and 3, choose potentially between 2 or 3 of your friends' fate. You're gonna become the reason someone else isn't staying in Blue Lock. That would be devastating if it were to happen. And this is all happening inside a flippin' sports manga. Again, it's just subverting my expectations of what soccer is, for Christ's sake. Anyway, back to Isagi. So, Isagi in the second selection makes a team of 3. He chooses Bachira, obviously, and also Nagi, that physically talented genius I talked about before. Isagi, now wanting to prove he has the formula and ego to beat anyone, decides to go against the top 3 in Blue Lock. This is where Rin Itoshi comes into play. See, what you don't know until the first match is that Rin has spatial awareness. He has that specialness Isagi thought he only had, but Rin has the athletic ability Isagi lacks, aka a purebred and better version of Isagi in pretty much every single way possible. With the physical prowess, Rin can just see the field on an entirely new level, crazier scenarios, crazier plays, and he can score all on his own, so Isagi loses. Again, subverting your expectations on where the story will go. Isagi loses badly. Rin, with so many steps ahead of seeing the field, Isagi can't even comprehend what he sees. Rin's on a 5D chessboard and Isagi's on like a 2? Then, out of nowhere, who does Rin choose? He chooses Bachira. Isagi loses Bachira, the teammate with the most potential to help him, but also the closest friend he had at Blue Lock. Now, he has to see him as a future opponent. If Isagi loses the next match, he's out of Blue Lock. And who would choose Isagi? The other person on his team is Nagi, this trap god who can breathe life into a ball. And if you think about it even more, Isagi's at his limit. We know his weapon formula now, and sure, he could maybe get a better direct shot, but his spatial awareness was truly beaten. His entire viewpoint that he's known for, that ego he thought he had, was worthless. Maybe, though, he needs to stop trying to break his limit. Maybe instead of breaking that limit, he needs to start anew. Maybe his 100 needs to begin at 0. Going from 0 to 1, from 1 to 100. Instead of Isagi constantly evolving through physical technique or trying to think of where the ball might end up even quicker, he instead breaks down on a fundamental level. He rebuilds the well-being of everything he knows. He crams into his head all the missing pieces he needs to be reborn. He learns about blind spots. Okay, how do I use that to think of where the ball will go? No. That's prior thinking. You need to destroy that puny logic and rebuild from scratch. I need to rebuild my ego and add it to my formula. He needs to let everything he thinks he knows and instead adapt to what he knows. But that's not enough. If this is his 0 to 1 moment, what will get him to 100? It can't just be about adapting. If he wants the ego of a striker, it needs to be less of adapting and more of devouring. Have you forgotten where we are? This is Blue Lock. This ain't no team sport. Isagi is here to win. Remember, he needs to become a force of nature that changes the battlefield. Instead of working with his teammates, he needs to devour his teammates. It's not enough to reform yourself. He needs to devour everything. Instead of just knowing where the ball will go, he will make it so the ball goes where he wants it to go. Instead of knowing the weaknesses of everyone, he will use their strengths to get the ball back in his hand. He needs to devour each and every single obstacle and teammate to get the outcome he wants. He'll make it so everything that is happening on the field is his complete control. His teammates and their plays, his own way of thinking, his very own opponents. He will become Blue Lock's puppet master. Then, at the end of Season 1, we finally see it. Each team scoring, Isagi getting closer and closer to beating Rin. Isagi shooting, him blocking, him strategizing. Okay, breakdown, reform, strategizing, breakdown, reform, rebuild. What's the piece I'm missing? What do I need to add to my formula to win? What can I do to add to my ego? And Isagi does it. He finally outsmarts Rin. This is just Isagi's evolution, by the way. He's the main character that embodies everything I love about Blue Lock, but he's not the only one. Every single main striker has their own ego arc. King's realization of becoming the villain of the team. Nagi learning to be independent. Chigiri unchaining himself, not worrying about how long he has left. I could go over all the characters, but this video would be 4 hours long, and I don't have time for that. Maybe I will. Maybe one day. But I think what really sells these is the art. Because, dear God, this man can make picking up a stick look like the bombs of Hiroshima. It's the most intense scene you've ever seen. Speaking of which, it's important to see what other people think of your favorite media. Being in a bubble doesn't really help you gain any knowledge or seeing other perspectives of things. However, you're also talking about anime, and going outside your bubble and talking to anime fans is talking to anime fans. So, a common complaint I see about this series is soccer cannot be taken this seriously. They're just playing soccer, like, come on. And I would respond by saying, no scenario of any series can be taken seriously. You can have a show about a bald guy who can defeat anything with one punch. He could be in a fight, entirely naked, on a planet, fighting another guy who looks like a V. And it can be the most intense fight you've ever read because of the art. Or a bunch of kids taking a test be the most nerve-wracking experience you've ever seen, because if one of them fails, they might die. When you see some of the plays these strikers make with the art of the mangaka, it's insane how much emotion it gets out of me. Sure, Bachira might be just dribbling on the court, but he is going against his entire ethos. Everything he's known since a kid. Not listening to the monster. To become the monster he always wanted. The art just elevates all these sentiments. And when the match is over, the credits rolling, the final piece hits me for the Blue Lock formula. The Blue Lock formula is the strategy of the two teams, the raging egotism, the subversion of my expectations, and all these evolutions fighting each other. The amount of hype when this Blue Lock formula is in my brain makes me go, I can't stop thinking about Blue Lock. But if I could sum up Season 1 as a whole, it's figuring out what that Blue Lock formula is. And Season 2 is when we get to see that formula executed flawlessly. But I'll save that for another time. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you read or watched Blue Lock because of this video, tell me in the comments. I think if I got just one person to do that, this video was worth making. Or just tell me in the comments anything else, like your favorite character or favorite moment from season 1 or 2. Subscribe or smash that like button or whatever YouTubers say, right? Anyway, I'll let you get back on with your day. Have a good one, everyone.